You think that cybersecurity would be something that's a no-brainer. We've got problems are getting bigger, and they're about to become even worse. But it's not that easy. If you ask me about the cyber case today, I would just tell you it's complicated. Look, cyber does lend itself to investment. There's an enormous amount of innovation. There's an enormous amount of company creation. And there's an enormous amount of M&A with the IBMs of the world, or Northrop, or whoever, Verizon's looking to buy companies. So it does lend itself to private investment. We've seen a lot of M&A. We've seen a lot of venture capital and less so private equity investment in this area. Started off with Silicon Valley as usual. The VCs over there moved from their traditional business software and then storage focuses and added security onto it. So that became kind of an add-on to what they were already doing. At the other end, you found defense companies saying, you know what, our big defense contractors want to buy a security company, let's get in the chain and let's start investing. I personally argue that just because you invest in a submarine manufacturer does not make you automatically good at investing in software, but that's what happened. The other thing that we saw with geographically focused funds. Cyber is everywhere, and with data sovereignty issues, we're going to see more and more cyber companies around the world. But really, as we see it, there are three main areas for investable assets. One is Silicon Valley, obviously. The other is the other side of the world in Israel. As people come out of their intelligence military complex, people have really done very good things as cyber practitioners. And then the third area is actually where our intelligence community comes out of, and you've seen people here who have the chops to speak to that. And that's mainly focused on what we call the DC cyber corridor. It's where the NSA is, where CIA is, where Cyber Command is. That area actually had the greatest amount of spending in the world and the greatest talent pool of cyber professionals and now incubators, all the things that made the Valley great in other areas. And we see that now coming in the DC area. Interesting. This is important. Very few specialist cyber firms or cyber funds. That becomes important. Why? Because the track record of cybersecurity investing is actually very mixed. People will tell you that we've had 200 to 300 deals done every year, and it has been every year, and billions of dollars every year, and it has been every year the last 10, 15 years. But what are the returns been? Because we can't figure out what they are, and we're in the industry. Now, people tell us it's 5 times return on average. People say it's 10 times return. Okay, let's go with 5 to 10x return. Even that's really hiding what's going on. You've got some great outliers, whether it's in SourceFire or FireEye. Putatively, you've got Palantir. But actually, a lot of people, it's just ho-hum, and for some people, it's been pretty bad. The reality is that this is not an easy industry, and we can really be variated by time. 10 years ago, people started getting into cybersecurity companies. There were some very few companies out there, and they did well. People made a lot of money. That brought the gold rush. All of a sudden, the hype cycle begins, and everybody wants to rebrand themselves as a cyber company. They may only have a cyber company as a neighbor, but now they're a cyber company neighbor. Everybody rebrands themselves. Why do they rebrand themselves? So that you can pay more money for them. So you've got an increase in volume of company, you've got an increase in valuation, and all of a sudden, fast forward 3 or 4 or 5 years, you've got a lot of unhappy investors. And that's one of the reasons why we start to see the development of cybersecurity specialists in the investment community, and that's ourselves included, but there are others that are out there now, and that's coming more and more. Now, why exactly is that the case? I like to think of cybersecurity like biotech. You wouldn't invest in a biotech company if you didn't understand anything about formulae of drugs. It's just not that easy. You might think, like, I understand the EBITDA, but that's not really what this is about. You've got to understand the product. Cybersecurity is not one sector. It's a series of subsectors. And more keep getting added, and existing ones keep removing. So now, not only do you have volume and valuation, you've got velocity of change too. This is a very difficult area. Add to the fact of that, it's an area that just moves fast from the point of view of company development. We track that there are, on average, for small companies, you have companies that have been going from being founded to sold in 36 months. But if you've got a life cycle of 36 months, there's no Series D or Series E to get into. And if there is, there's only 2 reasons. Either number one, it's priced out of all proportion, or the original venture capitalists just want to get out because it's really not a good company. That's the reality. So we realized, okay, let's get our head around this. If you want to invest in this sector, you have to get in a little bit earlier on. If you want to invest in this sector and understand all the dynamics, you really have to understand the industry and not just have it as an afterthought to your submarine manufacturing or your storage business. You have to know the industry. You have to come from the industry. And particularly because you're going to have to probably go to Series A, Series B, maybe Series C, if you really want to get to play on what's out there. So, with option 3, getting back to my notes now, when we put this company together, the idea was that we would come from a point of view of bringing cyber practitioners, cyber warriors, as you like to say, into the firm, not as an add-on, but at the core of the firm. We start with technology. Our people have written the code, they've remediated the breaches. This is something that we do as a living, not me, but the team, particularly down in Reston, Virginia, which is where we've located an office because so many of our investments are down there, and our staff are down there. But in addition to technology, we brought in policymakers, we brought in people who have built internet businesses at big PE-backed companies, big strategic companies. We looked at people who had done M&A in this area. With people who've done VC, like the two of us over here, people who've done financings in this area. So we'd say we wanted a firm that came from the industry, and we're not going to get blown away because something was just hot that day. In fact, it's interesting that the Wall Street Journal article out today about what's cold is hot again. That's kind of what we believe. We don't get fazed by things because something seems hot. For us at option 3, it comes down to 3 things: risk-adjusted returns. We're not seed. There's a great seed market out there. It's just not our market. We want companies with proven products, proven deployments, referenceable customers, preferably federal and blue chip, proven management team. If they're not proven management, they're subject matter experts that we can work with and get them there. Attached to that is governance, and we don't like to pay high prices. But we've got the basic rule set. We developed this over years. We have, at this point in time, deployed about $20 million with all our vehicles and our one co-investor. Interesting, that's 4 deals, of which 2 have already exited in 3 years. There was actually a 5th deal that exited the day before, 2 days before we didn't sign the deal. They just sold themselves. So this is a very fast-moving industry. We would have made great money on that deal if it happened. So how I'd like to leave with you is this. You want to be in cybersecurity. It's a great area. All of these things you hear about drones, and autonomous cars, Internet of Things, none of that's happening without security. None of it. But there's going to be more waves of spending coming in. You want to be there. You want to be technology as a whole, and IT security is the fastest growing part of technology. It's grown 35 times in the last 17 years. But you want to do it carefully. You want to do it with people who know what they're doing, who've been in the space, preferably who come from the space. There are now funds that are developing. There are specialist teams within larger groups that are developing. Still relatively new. We're one of them right now. I mentioned that we've already put 20 million to work. What's left, it hasn't already been sold. We are now contributing to a new fund, Option 3 Cyber Investments. It's in the market right now. Bill, I'm sure, will give you some information on that. We're also we're flexible. We know this industry is a series of subsectors. We know it's possible to get into one of these subsectors, acquire, and basically roll up the sector, become a leader, get out, and probably kill the sector with it. But we make good investments as the time goes on. So we're actually in the first process right now. We've just gone into exclusivity to buy a company based actually here in Manhattan called TDS in the data management space that we are particularly excited about. Oddly enough, and we did not plant this, the Wall Street Journal came out with a great article today that kind of made the entire investment case in that one article. But, and Bill, I'm sure, will give you information on that. But this is a great area. You want to be in it, just do it carefully. Of course, I'm going to say do it with us, but we have a lot of Option 3 people around. Please talk to them about the industry, about us. I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank the people who all come from Washington, D.C. I want to thank Carr, our office managers and the people who put this all together. We work with Carr here in New York. We work with them in Reston, Virginia. And if you are looking for office space and shared facility, I cannot tell you how happy we are working with them. So Greg over here is also the person to talk to for that. So with that, I thank everybody. And you know what? Time for beer. Thank you.